Hi guys. So I'm Chad and I'm Marvin. And today we're gonna talk to you about some of the more stuff leading to the revolution. So we're here to help Miss Gomez and Charles out a little bit because they needed a break. Anyway, so let's start with a very important historical character whose name is Crispus Attucks. Now, Crispus. Now wait, do you want to do this or do you want me to? I'll do it. I'll talk about Crispus. Okay, so Crispus Attucks was born into slavery and escaped by running away disguised as a sailor. Very dramatic. Anyway, so Attucks ended up in Boston in 1770, where he made history being one of the first Americans to lose his life in an American protest that came to be known as the Boston Massacre. I want to talk about that. No, I want to talk. No, I want to now. Okay, let's just move on to the next part. So in 1767, Parliament passes this plan known as the Townshend Acts. Now remember, Parliament had been already passing all these acts that are making the colonists upset. The Townshend Acts suspended colonists' rights to meet together and placed taxes on glass, paper, paint, lead, and tea. Now, the British were hoping that these acts may anger colonists a little bit less, since they didn't seem quite as direct as a Sugar or Stamp Act, but it still made them really mad, and tensions are getting higher. Tensions. Or should we say rockier? Get it? That was funny. Okay, I'll take the next part. So to make sure that the taxes were enforced, the British officers issued what's called writs of assistance. That's W-R-I-T-S of assistance, A-S-S-I-S-T-A-N-C-E, or just say search warrants. Oh yeah, that's just a fancy way to say search warrants. They're the same thing. So British officers issued these writs of assistance or search warrants, which pretty much said that they were able to enter the colonial homes and search for the smuggled goods. Well, anyway, after the Townshend Acts, protests broke out in the colonies, and many believed that these writs of assistance or search warrants really went against their natural rights as Englishmen, because they knew all these foundations of government that Miss Gomez and Charles taught y'all. They knew them, and they really felt like these search warrants really went against their rights. So they get even madder, and tensions get higher. Anyway, so Sam Adams was one of the main protesters. He protested the Townshend Acts. He led the terrorist, or not the terrorist group. Well, they pretty much were a terrorist group. More like a protest group, sort of. Yeah, they were like the colonial rebellion leaders. Anyway, he led the Sons of Liberty. And essentially, a lot of people in the colonies would say that the shopkeepers wouldn't sell anything important from Britain. And riots broke out between the British soldiers, or the redcoats, and the colonists. And they would call each other names. For example, the British soldiers would be called lobsterbacks, and the colonists would be called Yankees. They're insulting names, but eventually they kind of came to like them. Anyway, so finally, there's tensions get higher, and everyone gets angrier. And so they finally, one day, March 5th, 1770, there's some youth and dock workers start fighting. A bunch of British redcoats or lobsterbacks and a bunch of colonists or Yankees start fighting with each other. Well, shots end up fired, and this is known as the Boston Massacre. Was it really a massacre? Well, I don't know. You see, a lot of the colonists, well, to this day historians think that the colonists used that word massacre to try to get people to think that the British were really fighting an unfair fight. But some say it may have been self-defense. Well, that brings us to John Adams. He was a lawyer who actually defended the redcoats. He defended the British to show that the colonies followed the law. Yeah, he got a lot of hate for it. Don't start with T. Swift with me right now. Okay, fine, you're right. Anyway, So yeah, John Adams defended some of the redcoats who had fired the shots in the Boston quote-unquote massacre. But he got a lot of hate for it, but he didn't want to show the colonists followed the law. And anyway, this is just another example of how tensions get higher. Anyway, so after all of this, the colonists realized that they need a way to communicate. So they formed what's called the Committees of Correspondence. Essentially what these were is it's a way for the colonists to communicate by exchanging letters from colony to colony. So Virginia can talk to New York, who can talk to South Carolina, who can talk to Georgia, who can talk to New Hampshire. You get the point. Anyway, so these are formed so that the colonists can start talking to each other, and eventually they realize some sketchy stuff's going on. So the colonists had been smuggling tea in from Holland so they wouldn't have to pay taxes on it. Well, the British catch them, and now taxes had to be paid on all of that tea. So the colonists get really mad, and so they dress up like Native Americans, and I don't know why they did that, but they did. And they dumped tea into the Boston Harbor in December of 1773. 342 chests of tea. Now, the colonists were just trying to make a point. They even told Great Britain that they'd pay for the tea if they would repeal the tax, but Britain said no. Yeah, Britain actually wanted to send all those colonists who did that to trial. So the colonists got angrier, and tensions got higher. And man, I'm telling you guys, that string's going to be cut any second now. First, the Boston Massacre, then the Boston Tea Party. Who knows what's going to happen next? I know, the American Revolution, fool, it's already happened. How do you not know that? Well, of course I know that. You know what I mean. Quit being a hater. Okay, guys?